trade deadline 2 weeks away. This is a pivotal moment in time for the state of the Toronto Raptors and their future.
Is it?
I think so.
No.
Yeah, could go one or the other. Got me out there like a gazelle. Goddamn legs hurt.
Got me out there running like a gazelle. Legs goddamn hurt.
This is Basketball Island. Hein, Hambone, Wes, Fab, and yeah, don't worry. We will talk all trade stuff. This is a big trade episode. We're going to dive deep into it. We got to kind of start with what we've seen the last couple games. Back-to-back wins. We were all a little worried about this Western road trip. I'm not really sure how much yesterday means. Like, we saw the Kings play a bad zone. The Raptors couldn't play against it. Then they played well against it in the third quarter, and that was kind of the whole game.
The team's winning.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's what matters.
That's a good thing. It's far removed from the last year or two where things were not going so great. I think we need to talk about Scotty Barnes. The dude is making the simple play the right play, and I think he's absolutely dominating. In that third quarter against the Kings,
He was the difference.
He was the difference in the middle of that zone, 14 points in the quarter. His defense is otherworldly. And then we were talking about it before we started taping. It's like, considering what he was in the first 5 games of the season and kind of like how he looked, a lot of like the complaining, and he still does a little bit of that, don't get me wrong. His play has elevated this team on both ends of the floor. And I don't think he gets enough credit, quite frankly, for his output. So I think he deserves a lot of love. Emmanuel quickly obviously had the amazing game against the Warriors and then proceeded to get 0 threes.
Do you want to guess what he is at Depoy? It's still insulting to me. But he now has the 6th shortest odds.
6th shortest odds.
That hasn't moved.
Like plus 3,000.
He's 40 to 1, plus 4,000, which
I don't think he's getting enough credit in that regard. I think it's very surprising, but it would be remiss not to give that dude credit. Man, dude's a gazelle. He is a gazelle. Yes. He really is.
Go gazelle. Admirable that they strung together a couple wins on a road trip with the chips down, missing a number of key players. So it's good. You got to win these types of games. I still have some concerns about how they react to a zone. I know they kind of punctured that against the Kings, but let's be honest, that was like a high school looking zone with very poor defensive players. So when other teams throw better versions of it, so you have Portland coming up, it's a little different when Drew Holiday's on the perimeter and Donovan Clingan is standing in the paint. So I still think teams are going to continue to throw this at them, and the Raptors are going to have to deal with it, which at least they did against Sacramento. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, one of my main points talking about this team is they're inconsistent because they're young. They're growing. There's a lot of things they're figuring out. I liked using this stat on SC the other day. In the last 3 seasons, they've been 11-22 on road trips of 5 games or more. Pretty reflective of a team that's young, that's doesn't have the night in, night out effort. I actually don't care about the wins and losses so far on this road trip. I like the effort that they're giving. I don't even care if they lost all 3 games. I think there is an urgency that they're playing with on this road trip, which I like to see. That Clippers game is a good example, the one that just before they got off. They kind of let the foot off the gas pedal a little bit. They kind of really gave it away in the second half of that game. I like the effort that they're putting in all 3 of these games so far. The wins are obviously the bonus. But to me, knowing how bad they've done in the past on these road trips, I think it's reflective of just a young team, and they're showing the right version.
Especially because of how shorthanded they are.
Yeah, we brushed over that.
And those are key. Even Jacoby Walter, who's starting to play well and then goes down, but this is a different team without RJ, and that for me is where it's you get frustrated that. You watch that second quarter when they can't figure out a high school zone, but then it's hey, wait a minute. Look at all of the guys that they're missing. I just want to see them healthy. I want to see all of these guys healthy.
Listen, 27-19, you're 4th in the East. You can't have any complaints, especially with the amount of injuries you've had. Yep. But I will flag the schedule. We keep talking about how the schedule is going to get tougher. It's actually going to get a lot tougher.
Yes.
Portland, Connor, bring it up. Portland, OKC. You come home to the Knicks, who have eaten you up. Orlando on the road.
You might be catching the Knicks at the right time, though. I know they just won, but
players only meeting, man.
They're in full panic mode.
The Knicks look bad, but you don't match up with them. You just don't match up with them, and that's the unfortunate part. So it's good to bank these wins because you're a couple losses away from the play, and that's how thick the East is.
Too tight, the East.
Yeah. Too tight. Yeah, one other point. We talk about injuries being a big issue. To throw a positive spin on it, 15 games without Yak, 9-6. Mm-hmm. I think nobody would have expected them to be. And that's with RJ out a lot of these games as well. 9-6 with that many key injuries.
In the recent.
Since Jakob Poeltl went down 15 games ago, they're 9-6. That's you got to be pretty happy about that result. That's pretty shocking.
And credit goes to CMB. I think Sandro. Mambo Kelly, he's been like, he gives them that dynamic, that spread floor. He can shoot it from the 5 position, brings the ball up court, attacks in transition on his own. Like, he's doing some things. I worry about that because he's getting too good because the Raptors aren't going to be able to afford this dude.
Well, that's the other thing,
Good
too.
problem to have, though.
I know, but he's...
When you can't afford him and he leaves?
Well, but then we're going to get to the deadline, it's like, I don't think, on this roster, who's untouchable? For me, it's CMB and it's Scotty Barnes.
Sure.
Like, who else is untouchable? So
Sandro.
No, but and I think to Wes's point about them winning without Yak, I almost think the Yak injury has been a bit of a blessing because we don't see what CMB doesn't get this chance to develop like that without that injury.
Fair point, but then you'll get, like Wes referenced the Clippers game earlier, where you get bludgeoned by Brook Lopez and Zubac.
But that was just all Harden. That was just all Harden.
I know, but
it was, but they destroyed the Raptors inside. He had size.
This is why it's not like, listen, CMB as a stopgap center has filled in admirably. They're +2.5 per 100 possessions with him at center. So they're a positive with a 6'6" center, basically. 6'7". Let's round up a little bit. But
with shoes, with sneakers.
But once again, you're going to run into matchups where that's not tenable, man. Like you're just gonna run into Klingon, Chet Holmgren, Towns, or Mitchell Robinson. Like, so if you want to get into the Poeltl stuff,
let's get into it.
Okay, well, so let me start with this. And I asked this in our chat. If I'm going to give you a number, FanDuel, give us this magical number. 8.5 games played rest of the season, Jakob Poeltl.
It better be over, dude.
Yeah, I'd take the over.
It better be over.
But based off of what we're hearing, would it also shock you if that number was 0.5 and it goes under?
I think it's a zero-sums game. I think it's either 0 or he goes over.
Like, don't say 0, man.
No, but like, doesn't that seem at least possible based off the reporting?
So yeah, reported yesterday that he's now in Toronto. At the time of this taping, he's seeing a specialist in Toronto about his back.
Connor will give us an update if we have one.
So he's been out for a month, and now you're seeing a specialist.
How are you not seeing a specialist 2 weeks after the injury?
And
why are you waiting like 5 weeks after the fact?
There's a Tunia guy Amanda goes to in Scarborough. He fixed that back up real nice.
Scarborough.
You ever done one of those Tunia massages?
Please stop.
You of all people.
Please stop.
I self-massage.
I mean, he'll walk on your back, fix you up real good.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
You froze me. You froze me up. I lost my train of thought.
Not good, all right?
Where in the world is Jakob Poeltl?
I said this a few weeks ago when they said reevaluated in a week. I said no chance in hell that he's coming back in a week. Mm-hmm. And here we are in the abyss because this guy's been signed to a long-term extension and we don't know if he can even play. And he's your only center.
How long is the extension,
I
Fab?
got it up here. Hold on.
Oh, it's very long. It goes till 2030. It's not great.
So it doesn't even kick in until next year, right?
Ugh.
Yeah.
So,
27, 28, 27.3, 28, 29, 29.4, 29, 30, back to 27.3.
I think the Raptors need to be realistic with themselves about how much he will be available and the quality of game he can give you for the rest of the season.
If they are able to alleviate his absence the way they have thus far, as Wes alluded to earlier, that's good. But we know that this team needs size down the stretch.
Yes.
Because you're going to, to your point, you're going to run into matchups where it's unfair. And I think we've said this many times. You're just going to get bludgeoned just because the other team has a 7-footer with muscles.
Perfect example. DeAndre Ayton at the start of this road trip.
Oh, God.
Didn't miss a shot. He didn't have to do anything. He was catching the ball 2 feet from the net, laying it up, getting putbacks. He's not a good player. He's
soft as butter.
He's soft, but guess what? He's 7 feet tall. Yeah. And that worked against the Raptors.
So, and I think this is where we can get into the bit of the trade stuff now, because what is this team and how much of a move do you want to make? Because me and Fab were talking before, I don't think this team is good enough that you want to necessarily give up anything long term. I'm more of the opinion of, hey, you should probably stand pat and build. But then Fab countered perfectly, which is what everyone's talking about. But then what do you do with RJ? Do you need to move RJ because you don't want to pay him, and you can't pay him because you're paying that money to Yak and you're paying that money to Quickly?
But it doesn't have to be RJ to be moved. You need to move money.
But to move that bad money, you probably have to attach an asset, which is RJ.
The issue is the Raptors are kind of handcuffed now because Quickly doesn't have a ton of value. Poeltl doesn't have a ton of value. So RJ is the piece that you're looking to.
Have you watched the last 2 games that Quickly value? going up a bit.
Hey, man,
Showcase.
the
You
most-
watching NBA?
The most efficient 40-point
Yes.
game since Will
Since
Chamberlain.
well, yeah. No, the most efficient 40-point game ever based off true shooting percentage.
Emmanuel quickly, take a
Man,
bow,
yes.
man.
Yes, sir.
And then he hit
Hopefully
1
everybody
3
else is
last
watching.
night.
Was he as efficient as Wilt post game would be? No.
No,
sorry.
no.
Sorry. That was for you, Connor. Okay, so I think it's a great point. I would subscribe to the theory that they should be patient. I think there's a lot of chatter about like a team like the Detroit Pistons as well. It's like I think you want to see what you have before you start tinkering with this team come playoff time. But to your point, the contract situation is not great. I mentioned Mamu earlier.
Yeah.
RJ Barrett gonna want to raise
So,
probably.
Let me ask you this, of all people. What would you do with the RJ situation then? Would you be one who wants to move him out, or are you fine paying him and giving him a
Okay,
raise?
so it's twofold, right? So just recently, some good reporting from Michael Grange, where you got Keith Pelly on the record talking about having faith in Bobby Webster. That
But
Bobby.
there was
doesn't-
also hints of where we need to win now in that article, though.
I think there's more so we're pleasantly surprised that the team is winning now, and that they're giving Bobby a little more runway.
See,
more
I
of a leash.
read that as like I feel like they want Bobby to make a move now.
I can't speak to your reading comprehension.
You're looking at you're always looking for the hot take.
Yeah,
version,
No,
right?
I didn't think that's a hot take. I just think that's the way Pelly has sort of shown that he runs businesses.
Hey man,
right?
the Bills got your judgment is clouded.
He's still in a fog.
I would say what I gleaned from that article, and again, solid reporting by Michael Grange, was that I think Bobby has the leeway to do whatever he wants, and that an extension is probably coming. I would lean towards more being patient with this team because I
agreed.
want to know what they're about come playoff time. But the contract situation is tough. Is
And
ownership?
can you be patient with that current contract situation, knowing you'll have to pay RJ?
I would personally wait till the off season to potentially shed some salary because I think this year for sure you need to get under the luxury tax. So I think the obvious move, if you can't acquire him big at the deadline, is you package a second round pick with Ochai
Ochai, yeah,
Agbaji,
exactly.
or just cut him outright, eat some of that penalty, whatever you need to do to get under tax because you don't want to be going to that repeater a year that you're not really contending, right? So that's one. That's the one.
Well,
big
Wes got thoughts. Let's hear it.
No, I'll just say the two most irrational like dream scenarios I think they should be going after or not doing anything is number one, offload one of these handcuff contracts with the least amount of damage in terms of future draft assets. If you can get off,
Do you think
do
you can
it.
do that though?
that's irrational.
Yeah.
So that's irrational. Number one, or two, you catch a distressed asset on a very, very, very cheap payoff. That it's worth going over the luxury tax because you got it at such a distressed
So
price.
let's go.
Hold
That's
on,
the
hold
only
on.
two things I think you do at this deadline. Otherwise, there's really not much.
I think just to answer the question of what they should do, you have to look at what are the expectations and what are you hoping for this team. For me personally, making the playoffs, having maybe win maybe a round, that's a great season. Even
That's a great season.
making the playoffs is a great season. So I'm not of the opinion that you should be chasing a home run swing to win the East. Let's be honest. Look at the teams who are in the playoffs. I don't know who are you picking the Raptors
Not over Boston.
Not over
Not over the
Boston.
Knicks.
Not over Detroit. Not over New York. And let alone beating all of them in consecutive rounds. So don't chase that. Don't attach a first rounder or multiple first rounders for this like Anthony Davis, Domantas Sabonis.
So I don't mind AD. I don't actually.
So
don't
I know,
mind
but I don't want to give up first round picks for this
Let's
guy
go-
who needs an extension and he can't stay on the court. Like, why are you doing that?
Let's go through these names. Let's go through the names.
Yeah, let's do the
do
names.
this proper. Let's play trade roulette. Let's start with Sabonis.
yeah.
Zero.
Sabonis
Cue
now.
the animation.
2 years left after this year. 45.4
loser.
and then
Sorry.
48.6. So you're
Sorry,
getting
this is Sabonis.
Sabonis. 2 years left after this year. 45.4 and then he's expiring at 48.6. Yeah,
Nay.
I'm also thumbs down on
Dude
Sabonis.
can't protect the rim. I think he's a good hub in terms of
To-
like passing,
So
facilitating
your
offense.
thing though, he's not a guy who you win in the playoffs with because teams will attack him on the defensive end.
Yeah, and we saw that with the Kings and those playoff appearances that they had. I'm not buying Sabonis personally.
Wes?
Well, I would do Sabonis of Jakob Poeltl was the one being
Sure.
sent back the other way in some
But
package.
Yak and what?
Whatever filler needs to make it happen. Of course, you take
They would want
Sabonis
RJ,
is
though, right?
Sabonis is so much better than Jakob in terms of long-term value. I think what he gives you offensively outweighs the liability he might have on defense. Look at this 15-game stretch without Jakob Poeltl. You know why the Raptors are 9-6? Because they got a guy like Scotty Barnes who's able to help defense and contain the paint and like sustain for guys like CMB, Sandro when they're playing center. So you're seeing it.
let me just ask
You
one
can
question,
do it.
though.
But I'm just saying it's Jakob Poeltl has to go back the other way.
But would you put RJ with Yak to do that for Sabonis?
I mean, if that's what it takes, no. But I think there's probably I didn't trade machine this.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's other salaries you can add up to make it work. My point being is, you get Jakob Poeltl's contract off, which is a major handcuff for the team. I think that's something you explore.
So it was reported by Evan Siddery. He said that the Kings are potentially looking at RJ Barrett. So the framework would probably involve Barrett, another contract, whether that's IQ or Poeltl. And I'm assuming Sacramento would want picks. So listen, Sabonis is a better player than Poeltl. He's a bit of a floor raiser, good regular season player. I don't buy into him in the playoffs.
Same.
He's not a rim protector. He can't really stretch the floor. So he's not the prototype of a big I want. Is he better than Poeltl? Yes. But once again, I don't want to be sending draft equity out
Fair.
to get a guy like Sabonis.
It's like how much? It's how
Once
much you can get back.
again, it's the threshold of how much are you giving up.
And do you remember that series against the Warriors where they were daring him to shoot free throw line jumpers and he couldn't do it?
Yes.
Like he couldn't do it.
He misses bunnies a lot too, right? Like, listen, he's a good player. Great defensive
Solid,
rebounder.
yes.
He's a very good player.
Shorter money too, though, right? 2 years versus 4 years on those deals.
And it's like, just taking an overall viewpoint before you go name off some other guys, it's like, it's not great business to just sign quickly and Poeltl to these extensions. And then the following season, you're like, how many picks do we have to attach to get rid of these guys?
Yes, exactly.
I don't like if you have any sort of pride as a GM like Bobby Webster, like I don't think you're doing that. Like I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I would stand firm, hold tight. I think any move you make is going to be incremental unless you can offload one of those contracts without attaching a lot of draft equity with it.
And that's the thing, to offload those contracts, these teams are going to want something of value.
Which is why I think just nibble around the margins.
Yeah.
Get a big for a cheap cost. If that's Ochai, a second. See what you have. See how they play in the playoffs, but don't do anything major.
Okay, so you maybe go down the list
Okay,
here
here we
because there are certain things where I'm willing to do that, but it obviously depends on what other teams want.
Okay, so let's stick with bigs and let's go AD. After this year, he's got 2 years left, 58.4, and then a player option, 62.7.
No,
I'm
no.
guessing he's picking up that player option.
Walk on.
So I'm actually okay with AD. And but Dallas, I don't think wants any of the contracts the Raptors are willing to give back. It would be RJ and one of Poeltl and IQ to make salaries work. If you're attaching draft picks, I would probably do a first. I'd probably do a first, maybe a second too, for that trade. But Dallas won't want those contracts. You would need a third team or even a fourth team to want one of those guys and then be able to offer Dallas some salary relief.
I think Dallas, given that after this year they have no draft capital, I think they would welcome a player like RJ and even be fine to pay RJ. And if that means getting RJ a first and a bad contract, and they kind of have a need at guard too if it's quickly. I think that actually kind of makes sense for Dallas's long-term building because it's not like they're trying to win in this next window, and when those contracts come off the books, then they'll be ready to win.
I can't speak to what Dallas needs. I think listen, it looks pretty obvious from the outside that they want to build around Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
I know they still have Kyrie Irving on the books recovering from his injury. So, I can assume that they don't want bad money on their books, right? So I think to me, another team needs to facilitate that trade if it happens. From the Raptors' perspective, I like AD because it would elevate their defense. And you're not going to give him an extension off his current deal. That's not a thing that's going to happen. You're not extending that dude on a $60 million average salary or whatever it is for 3 more years after that. That's not going to happen.
He's clutch, right?
He is Rich Paul.
Oh, just take the L on the contract negotiation if you're the Raptors. No, listen, quickly. I don't want to get older and more injury prone and more expensive.
Yeah.
Sorry,
while giving up draft capital.
How can you honestly say Davis can be relied upon? You just can't. This guy, he's street clothes, man. What do you want me to tell you? The guy can't.
Poeltl might be damaged goods, dude.
I know.
We don't know.
I know.
I think, again, on this note, I just don't think there's any scenario where Dallas takes anything the Raptors have to offer.
Yeah.
Period. So
Unless
this
they
is
love
just a
RJ.
non-discussion. But the other point I'll bring up, and this is obviously, it's hindsight, but
That's
when
how I see the world.
when Kawhi was traded for, the worry was, would he even play a single game?
Yeah.
Would he play a single effing game for the Raps? And he ended up being managed and getting them all the way to the finish line. So I get it. But there's some times where you take a big swing because your team needs it. I don't think the Raptors in that position right now. They don't need to do this.
The Raptors clearly they do hunt those like distressed assets, right?
Yeah.
Like Ingram was that. Kawhi was that. Kawhi, I think there was enough confidence at that point that he was just kind of upset with San Antonio and was holding himself out. And is just a way better player than Anthony
but
Davis,
also-
right? So you also didn't really give up much.
But I think it's
Right?
also to the rest of the group surrounding Kawhi is coming into a group that is already established
Yes.
and is ready to
Yes.
win, and that then brings the best out of him.
Ironically, you gave up Jakob Poeltl in that trade. I think to me the thing with this is it goes back to patience. I don't think the Raptors should be rushed into a move like that. I don't again because we haven't seen this team. That iteration of the Raptors, they failed in the playoffs multiple years in a row. Lost in the conference, lost to Cleveland multiple times.
Yeah.
It was
LeBronto.
right. It was the right timing.
Yeah, that's where a move needed to happen, right? That was the thing where that needed to happen. Whereas this case, patience, I think, would be a virtue.
No AD.
Okay, no AD.
I'm okay. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I just think I get where you guys are saying that Dallas not wanting to take on bad money. I just think when you're doing a bit of that full reset, which they are, and with no draft picks, you got to kind of pay somebody.
Yeah.
And when Dallas will be ready to win, one of those contracts will be coming off the books.
They may like RJ.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And
right?
Why wouldn't you like
Yeah.
RJ,
Yeah.
right?
You love RJ.
I do, man.
Yeah.
Dude, and last year I was kind of more on your island, but he's really shown a lot, and it was to the playmaking. Really, what, man? RJ's good. I like RJ. That's got heart. And you know what he is? You know what he is? He's a bucket.
He is a bucket.
Okay.
Bucket.
Ja Morant. So he has, after this year, he's got 2 years left, 42.1, 44.8. So not a terrible contract. And this is the ultimate. Is he diminished or is there still so much left in the tank? Because this guy's still very young.
I can go if you want. No, I know. Just he. No, he.
tone
Listen,
of that.
he's just a ball. The ball dominant part kind of worries me, and the lack of shooting. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think you need that type of player on your team right now. Who's going to take touches away from Scotty? Who's going to take touches away from Bi? And the fact that he can't shoot is the deal breaker for me. Or like, listen, I get he can put pressure on the rim. He's still a super athlete, even though his physical, he is declining a little bit physically. He's expensive. It's just not a trade I think you need to look at if you're the Raptors. It doesn't make a ton of sense basketball-wise for me.
Yeah, I think for the Raptors, they don't need to do it. But I think also what I disagree with in terms of the discourse about him. Do you guys think we've already seen Morant's ceiling? Is this it? Like we're never going to see a better version of him? This is capped?
I think we've seen the best version of him.
Okay, so that's the debate,
His
right?
athleticism has fallen off slightly. That before, the athleticism used to be able to make up for the lack of shooting. And if that athleticism is gone enough, I don't know if it's enough still to make up for the lack of shooting.
I get the sense this is the type of player who probably could use and benefit from a change of scenery.
This is the Kevin Nash in the wheelchair. As soon as he's in a new team, he gets up.
Boom. And he up.
Finger
Surprise.
Yeah.
I think Morant is I don't think it's clear that you've seen his ceiling. I think there are versions of him that in certain scenarios, he could be better than what we've seen in the best version of him. So the discourse about him is like, oh, he's never going to get any better. He's not going to the rim anymore. Like, this guy's washed. Dude, the guy's in his mid-20s, man. He's not washed at all. He's actually in his prime. It's just he's in a situation right now that I think is very distressed. Clearly doesn't get along with his coaching staff and how they execute things. I don't think Toronto's the right scenario for him. But there is a situation that he could be traded to, and you're like, oh, shoot, this guy's back to an all-star.
I agree with Wes. I think he's an asset I would actually buy low right now if I was another team.
Well, if the price is the same as
but
Trey,
not the Raptors.
If it's a trade price, I think I would love that.
I think he would be worth more than Trey on the market.
Hold on, though. I disagree because how can we say, okay, he's in his prime age-wise. His performance hasn't been improving in 3 years.
Did you watch the London game?
Cool.
He's got that. He's got that in him, I think. It's just
the non-shooting to me is just like, dude, you're a guard he's one of the worst pull-up shooters in the league.
if I'm a team like Miami, for example.
Oh yeah, send every distress I said.
Put him on the program.
Good in Miami,
Put him on the program, right? Heat culture.
I would buy low on an asset like Ja Morant. Dude, Ja Morant was like going to be the face of the league 3 years ago, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I remember his speech about like the West is theirs, you know what I'm saying? I still think there's something there to Wes's point. I agree. Like, buy low on Ja if you can, not the Raptors.
So now, do you believe the recent reporting that he now wants to stay? Because it really doesn't feel or look like
It
that.
almost feels like when Trae Young decided that Washington was the place.
Because they're the only one who wants him.
Yeah,
Sounds like a little bit of a PR move, right? He looks loyal to the franchise, right?
Save face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he have a Grizzlies tattoo? Like,
It's the Fresh Prince to Uncle Phil with his dad. Like, how come they don't want me, man? It's one of those.
Man. Oh, you don't want me, man.
How come you don't want me, man?
But okay, so just elaborate more on why you don't think Ja for the Raps, though. If he is the distressed asset that you guys think he is, don't you want to buy that if the price is so low?
Raptors are bottom 5 in 3-point shooting.
Double down on it.
Oh, triple down. I just don't. The fit with Scotty and Bi in particular, I just don't see it. You know, it's just tough, especially if you don't have a stretch 5, which the Raptors clearly don't right now.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I just don't see the fit.
If you're trying to dream as a Raptors franchise, you're looking for any Derek White comp. Anything like that is what's supposed to be in that spot.
Yeah.
Ja Morant is not the mold that you'd want. The talent's there, but the mold doesn't fit what probably the Raptors need in that position.
And like, listen, guys, like Emmanuel quickly, like his profile on offense fits what the Raptors need. He's the only dude who can shoot threes consistently. Now, obviously, that has waned over the season. I know that Golden State game inflated his numbers, but he kind of fits exactly what you need. I get why Emmanuel quickly was interesting. He just can't defend at a high level, although he has been better.
But he's also, I know he had 10 assists in that Warriors game, but
He's
not
got
a point
gravity.
guard.
He's got gravity.
And I've
to
said
him.
this before, and he worked well in that Warriors game because he was treated like more of a 2 guard.
He
has to be effective off the ball. He's got to get off the ball, pop threes. Like at that point, just accept the fact that he's not going to live up to the contract he has. Like let's all just accept it. He makes 32 mil. That's too much for what he's giving you. But you can't sell low on him and attach picks when you already don't have shooting. Like it'd be an insane decision to just have to attach a first rounder to get off him, and then you bring in another guy who can't shoot, and you're looking at your starting lineup like who can hit a 3 here?
Exactly.
Okay, I want to do like in the Bermuda Triangle of guards that have been moving around. Ja Morant, we've talked about Trae Young. Obviously, it's happened. LaMelo Ball is like the save me guy out of these group because he shoots, has the size. It's the same, but all 3 of them have the same problem, right? They haven't proven it. They haven't proven it at any level that they can win. So all 3 of them share that.
Yeah.
Ja's won 1. He's won 1 series. Good
I
for
would
him.
chase LaMelo.
I feel like all of us would be in on LaMelo just because of the size too, right?
No, yeah, the size. Which
And he
fits,
shoots.
It fits the Raptors
shooting-
mold. He shoots the ball
Transition
very well.
guy. He does everything that the Raptors offense is kind of trying to build to right now.
So would you give up? Would you say it's something like RJ, Poeltl first?
I'm saying I don't think the Raptors need to do anything, but I'm saying
you're giving that up for sure.
But
For
like,
LaMelo?
Yeah.
But because we started with Ja Morant, like I just don't like of those 3. I think Ja Morant's the worst fit, the absolute worst fit.
No, LaMelo
So
fits.
what would you give up for LaMelo then?
Run the trade machine.
Now we're
You
just
take her.
indulging in
Yeah,
pure
yeah.
fantasy
Well,
land, right?
if I'm Charlotte, I don't trade LaMelo. Although he did have a really bad game
LaMelo has all the
against,
tools to be great.
We just
It
haven't
just,
seen
I
it,
don't
yeah.
know. It just hasn't. I mean, a big guard who can shoot and play make. He should be an all-star caliber player. Does he have it all upstairs? I don't know. I don't know LaMelo. I don't know what his work ethic's like. I don't know how he practices. Like these are things I can't speak on that.
If we're talking about the Raptors core, projecting them forward, Scotty Barnes, I think CMB is a part of that core.
Oh,
BI for the
100%.
next few years,
Yeah.
right? Like these are the guys that you're building your team around. You need shooting around those guys.
Yeah.
So whomever you bring in, it can't be Ja Morant.
Yeah.
Because he does not give you that. His skill set can greatly benefit another team, not the Raptors. Raptors need, I think, in my opinion, if you want to get the most out of Scotty, CMB, and BI, you need shooting at the 1 and the 5.
Look, Ja Morant, if he's in, that means like BI has to go out for more of a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way you make that work.
So who's the guy then? If there's someone, obviously, pretty much all of us passed on all these guys. It seems like it's going to have to be someone you're operating around the margins in a smaller trade. Who's the one guy you'd want then?
No, but it goes back to what's the Raptors' objective coming up at the trade deadline? I think it's been
you need
pretty
a big
obvious.
body.
They're trying, but they're also trying to get under the salary cap. That's the main thing right now. This is not the year that they're trying to swing right now. So it's nice that their names are in every single trade rumor.
Yeah.
But I think the reality is they're doing the due diligence, but very unlikely they're going to actually probably pull the trigger on anything.
But there is framework in like a Sabonis type of deal where you could also get because you're so little above the luxury tax, you can make that big deal and still come in slightly under, right? Because you don't have to duck it by much.
Yeah.
What is it, $1 million
Yeah, it's
right
just
now?
over $1 million, I
So,
think.
No,
but yeah, I
under.
agree with like the overall
It's not the
idea of the big swing. I just don't think is reasonable.
I'm putting my Bobby Webster hat on.
Do you like a Mario one? It's just Bobby's head?
He's got taste. He's got style. I get it. Like for me, I'm making a tertiary move to add a big, just someone who doesn't kill you down the stretch. If I were to make a move, I would go after a stretch 5. Kristaps Porzingis, and I know his illness issues is tough for the guy, but he fits exactly what the Raptors need. Like when Mamu's in that starting lineup, like the ball moves around. There is more space for guys like Barnes and Ingram to operate. Kristaps Porzingis, I brought this guy up in a pod a few weeks ago. Zach Collins is the guy that fits that mold.
Oh, the commenters loved your fake Zach Collins
Dude,
trade.
RJ Barrett for Io DeSunmu, Zach Collins, and a pick. That would be a great trade. Io's killing it right now. I love Io. I'm a big Io guy, so that's just but like that's a move I would make. Get a big that spreads the floor, and you really need shooting. Like shooting, if you're making a move at all this deadline, stretch 5 would be the imperative for me. I don't think that trade is out there. I'm not sure why Atlanta would move off
I
of
don't think
Kristaps
they are.
unless they're trying to make a bigger move themselves. So what I would do is attach a Baji, 2nd round pick, whatever you need to do to get under that cap salary, and then maybe sign a center. Like, where Mo Bamba at? What happened to that? Like, maybe they're just keeping the decks open to see what's out there, whether they get in the buyout market or whatnot.
Like my one thing I wanted to add in this world of instant gratification we live in these days. Yeah, trade deadline. It's the hottest topic every time this time of year. The Raptors are expected to win 34 and a half games when the season was over last year. Walked into the year 39 and a half. They are 8 games above 500 in the 4th seed. Like, learn to stop, smell the roses, and recognize this is a good season.
Yeah.
Just like, be happy. But like, there's always I need more of this. I need more of that. I don't know. Now's the time. Like, let's push. Patience. This is a good season. Let's let it breathe. We'll see where we go from there. Unless you're absolutely fleecing somebody Joe Dumars style. Don't need to do anything.
Now, the only thing I would say...
2 phones.
The only thing I would say to that, and I completely agree with you, I think it's a stand-pat situation, but it's the Raptors who are getting themselves in all of these conversations and all of these reports that is getting the fans wanting to talk about that.
Time will tell,
it's
man.
Like, I'm with you,
Time
Wes.
will
I
tell.
agree. I think it's like the slow build. Why do we slowly build, but when you see them attached to every single name out there, that's what's going to have people talking.
They wouldn't be doing their due diligence if they weren't having those conversations. But, for the Raptors, they have been active the last 2 trade deadlines. They've made, I think, 5 trades in the last 2 deadlines. Different levels of size and whatnot. But they're definitely active. I wouldn't buy into all the chatter, but you'd be irresponsible if you weren't having those conversations.
For sure. And that's why we had it. That's all for us. We'll see you next week. You can catch us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts.